is date 22nd August till 27th August 2022. Time 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Venue live on the Proactive Parenting Academy pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Speakers Vivian Ijoma Ani, convener Dr. Ife Obano, Dr. Vivian Okoye, Professor E.A. Itoma, Professor Umwacha Ogechukwu, Runke Adeniyi, Prince Alex Madujemo, Fina Chichi, Professor Henry Odianose Imonde, Sandra Oluwadare, Chris Chokonyeri, Deaconess Ijoma Uba Onjuku, Adeh Jones, Sheun David Olorinde, Nene Chinyemirim Oluwagbohun, Mohe Francis Oko, Mabeth Chima, Chinyere Obina, Neme Boham. Come, let's build more capacity for productive parenting.
Yes. We are live for day 4. I'm glad to welcome everybody to this day 4. It's going to be another explosive session. Thank you for joining. I'm seeing so many people joining already. Thank you for joining. It's the Proactive Parents Conference 2022, and today is day 4. It's been an amazing back-to-back sessions from Monday. So today we are having our first speaker already is here. We are having our amiable Coach Adeh. He's coming back again to give us the fire, the man that brings Rema from heaven. Hey, if you miss this session, you will be wrong, totally wrong the whole of today. So share this link everywhere. Share it in your amidst your friends and family everywhere. Let people know that Coach Adeh is in the building again, and his topic is going to blow our mind, especially if you were raised in Africa like me. So we'll be reading his profile in a bit to remind you of who Coach Adeh is, and then we'll bring him in the building. Stay tuned to listen to his brief bio, and then he will be here in a moment.
Adeh Jones. He's a full-time house husband and a stay-at-home dad. He is a parenting coach with a niche in behavioral management, a certified marriage and family therapist, certified cognitive behavioral therapist, practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. He is a TEDx speaker, writer, and author of 13 books. Popular amongst them are The Full-Time House Husband, Contemporary Parenting, Frustration-Free Parenting, and others. He resides in Jos, Plateau State, with his family. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Mr. Adeh Jones.
Yeah! Welcome, boss. Welcome, boss. Thank you for being here again. Good to have you. Good to have you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Loud and clear. I'm so excited to
Yep,
have
yep,
you
yep,
again
yep, yep.
today.
I'm so
The
I'm so
man that brings
excited to be
Rema
back
from
again.
heaven is here. So we want to have the Rema again.
Oh yeah.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
so
Thank you
so
so much.
honored
I'm
and
glad to
humbled
be.
to be here to share with us again.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the floor is yours.
Yeah.
We are some minutes late. Um, Something happened with our technical, so we were about fixing it, and then we had to take some of your time. So the floor is yours, and then you can go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think we are human beings. We are not robots. Sometimes, things like this happen, especially, technical issues. So we won't beat ourselves because we didn't keep to time, right? In the proactive parenting ecosystem, we are empathetic. We understand that these things can happen,
Yes, sir.
because empathy is a gift, right? If I'm empathetic to you today, tomorrow when life happens to me, you will be empathetic to me. But if I'm hard on
Definitely.
you when life happens to you, unconsciously you want to equally, right, pay me back that coin of being hard to me when life happens. And I think I'm
Definitely.
happy that technical issues happened that we're starting late, because it will lay the foundation for what we want to talk about. Listen, life happens to
Wow.
us, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the underpinnings of what trauma is all about. Trauma, are experiences that happens to us, unconsciously, unintentionally, by our parents. Listen, circumstances just happens, and has a way of trying to achieve emotional balance, right? The brain, acts out, right? The nervous system acts out. So it's this form of acting out, right, to achieve balance, to save you, to protect you. These are experiences that lead to trauma imprints, right?
Wow.
And then for today, we want to look at an aspect of that trauma, which is developmental trauma, and then how it affects the life of adults, how it affects me, how it affects you, how it affects other people. And then if we can understand these influences, right, we can re-engineer these influences so that it can allow us, be proactive parents, parents who are equipped and in the right frame of mind to raise children who understand themselves, express themselves, to be responsible adults in a society that is going through so much trauma.
So go ahead. My book is ready.
Okay, okay, it's
We'll be
okay.
leaving the stage for you,
Thank
sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, first, let me start. What is developmental trauma and how it affects, you know, adults, or how it affects you or me? Now, to answer that, let me start by sharing a little bit of experience, as my work as a therapist. First, let me talk about Mommy Chinonso, right? Mommy Chinonso is a parent who, she calls herself a disciplinarian, right? Every little thing her child does, she's quick to discipline. And when I mean discipline in the African context, right, those, brain resetting form of discipline, beating, um verbal abuse, we call names, olodo, blockhead, yeah, yeah, your head no correct, those form of normalized form of discipline, within the African context. And then of course there are other sphere where this form of discipline is normal, where we verbally abuse children, where we physically abuse children, and then we call it discipline. That's a different milestone. Let me even talk about Mr. Pius. Mr. Pius, believes that when you give a woman freedom, she will take advantage of you, she will take you for granted. So he's doing everything possible to suppress his partner. What about Mommy Daniel? Mommy Daniel is a wonderful woman, right? But she wouldn't allow her children, express themselves. She wants to control everything. She wants to manipulate them. She is just there to micromanage their activities, right? Now, let me stop here and then talk about another aspect of developmental trauma, right, that I experience every time in therapy, especially couples therapy, right, where you find couples who are going through so much issues. I mean, issues from sex, issues from, right, finances, issues from toxic communication, issues from manipulation, issues from control. Developmental trauma plays in all aspects of our life, right? Let me talk about Daddy Kim, right? Daddy Kim is this father that he called him the chief people pleaser, right? He wants to do everything to please his family while depriving his own family of love, attention, and the needed resources they need. Now, talk about Mommy Deborah. Mommy Deborah is the savior, right? She wants to carry the cross of everyone, right, at the expense of how she feels, right? She is there to be of help to people, however, right, forsaking her own self at the end of the day, she's emotionally and mentally overwhelmed because she's busy saving the world while she's not saving herself or the children or her partner. Listen, we can go on and on and on. These are all imprints of developmental trauma. Now, what are developmental trauma? Developmental trauma are experiences that happened that from childhood they form the basis of defense, first of defense or of adaptation. Now I'll make it practical. Children live how they are treated, right? um, how a child behaves is a mirror how he is treated by the adults in his life. And then usually developmental trauma, right, those experiences that leads to developmental trauma starts from age 0 to age 9. Now, there are school of thought that believe developmental trauma starts from age 0 to 6. However, age 0 to 6 is just that phase where a child is trying to individuate, right? So a child is trying to understand his sense of self. However, developmental trauma encompasses from a 0 to 9 because it's at that phase where children are trying to experiment with their self concept. So, how you treat a child at that stage can form imprints of emotional wound, mental wound, social wound, or spiritual wound. It's these wounds we call developmental trauma. So if a child is raised with emotional wound, mental wound, social wound, spiritual wound, right, it falls under developmental trauma. Now, let me give an example. If a child is constantly verbally abused, mumu, olodo, blockhead, something is wrong with you, right? This form of normalized forms of conversation or communication can impede on the balanced mental development of the child. Now, let's not even go to the physical aspect where you are constantly beating a child in the name of discipline. Listen, we all know the effect, how it affects the mind of the child. Now, let's talk about parents who, right, out of the goodwill to provide for their children, are not emotionally and physically available in the life of their children. Their children grow up believing that um, love shouldn't be expected because mom or dad is not there. So it means I can live on my own. So you hear people saying, I don't need anyone. You hear someone saying, me, I live an independent life. These are all imprints of trauma. No one can live on his own. We are socially designed to coexist with ourselves. I need you, you need me. So when people are saying, I don't need you, it means the I don't need you is just a form of defense, right? To guide their emotions from hurt. So if you've been through hurt, you try as much as possible not to experience hurt again. So as a form of defense, right, you now start embracing the narrative that you don't need someone else. Another form of developmental trauma is when you don't trust people. So you hear someone say, "No, no, me, I don't trust people. When I'm in a new place, I try as much as possible to keep to myself and all that." These are all, trauma imprints where you're trying as much as possible not to feel hurt because while growing up, probably your trust have been depleted. So let me give an example, right? I have this client that told me how when she was very small, she was sexually abused by her cousin, and then when she told her mom beat her and said, "Keep quiet, don't say this, don't lie on your on your uncle." At that level, she said she felt betrayed, right? The trust she had on her mom, right, got shredded. And then from that stage, she never believed she could tell people something. And then she started keeping it to herself. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, because for children, parents set the template for what life is all about, right? For children, if a parent betrayed your trust, you believe, you know, every other adult will betray your trust, right? If a parent is empathetic to you, you'll be empathetic to others. If a parent is hard on you, right, you'll be hard on other people. That's why they say a child lives how he's been treated. So if you treat your child with respect, your child will treat other people with respect, because that's what you're modeling. So parents set the template. If you're critical of your child will be critical of other people, right? If you are patient with your child will be patient with other people. So how you treat your child, if you betray the trust of your child today, your child will feel other people will betray my trust, right? And then equally your child, all right, there's that propensity that your child will equally betray the trust of other people. So it is a circle. It is a circle. And then this how developmental trauma, plays out. Another form developmental trauma plays out is in people pleasing. Now, take one step at a time. Let me explain this, because now it's critical. A lot of us are struggling with this. If a child is raised in an environment where the parents are controlling, where the parents use force, where the parents use punitive form of discipline, right, like beating, like withdrawal of privileges, like timeout. If a child knows that when I make mistake, this is how my parent will discipline me, the child will find a way to navigate this form of love, right? If a parent raises a child in an environment where when you don't do what I want, I will withdraw my love, I will withdraw my privilege, right? Some parents will say, okay, because you didn't do this, I will not give you this, right? Okay, you've done this, I go and sleep. When a child learns that love is withdrawn, right? When I'm imperfect, the child learns to find a way to do things the parents will like, right? So the child will perfect the form of pleasing the parents, but it doesn't stop there. The child now learns as he grows up to be a chief people pleaser, because people pleasing is a way of getting people's love, people's attention, and then people's acceptance, right? So now you find adults who let me give an example. There's a man, right, who is a client. He always tell me, like, every time, right, my neighbors will always bring their children to me. I'm so overwhelmed. Wait, you're so overwhelmed. Why can't you say no? No, he can't say no. People pleasers hardly say no, because they feel when I say no, there won't be love, there won't be acceptance, there won't be appreciation. So people pleasing is a defensive or adaptive form of what manipulating the perception of people, so that you will get love, you will get attention, and then you will get acceptance. At the end of the day, you are so much overwhelmed, but you can't say no. Another form of developmental trauma is when you are parentified. Now, let me explain what parentified is all about. Parentified is when a child is raised in a home where the parents are exhibiting forms of dysfunction, like addiction, like physical abuse. So at a very little age, right, this child learns to take care of responsibilities in the house. This child learns to take care of his or her younger ones. This child learns to, step in for the irresponsibility of the father or the mother. This child learns to be there to comfort the mom or to comfort the dad. So it means at a very tender age, this child is living an adult life. So what it implies is this child will grow up, right, with a deprived form of childhood. When you are supposed to be a child, you are an adult. So when you become an adult, you learn not to have a life. So your life is always for people. You are always there. You want to save your you want to save your siblings, you want to save your uncles, you want to save your neighbors. Like unconsciously you feel you are the savior. You're always there to meet people's need, right? You feel you're altruistic. You can even say, oh, me, I can take my last, right, just to make sure someone gets all right. Really, someone gets all right, but you're in a tight corner. So over and over again, you are in a circle of struggle just because you want to help other people. You want to carry the burdens of other people. You want to always be there to shoulder the responsibility and then the cross of other people. You are the first person, people want to bypass your boundary, because over and over again you are always there to carry the cross of other people at the expense of your cross, at the expense of the cross of your family, at the expense of the cross of your children, right? So you are the savior. These are all imprints of trauma. I can go over and over again how the absence or the oversight of parenting practice leads toward the difficult life of adults, right? So a lot of times the difficulty adults go through in their marriage, in their relationship, in their career, in their finances is tied to developmental trauma, right? So, and developmental trauma is a transgenerational circle. As a parent, if you don't deal with the traumatic experiences, right, you've carried from your parents, you transfer it to your children. If you're struggling in your marriage today, if you don't deal with the traumatic imprints that you've brought into your marriage, you transfer it to your children. Let me even step here to talk about a visible traumatic experience, right, adults are struggling with, that if they don't deal with, their children will carry it over. One is putting up with abuse, right? um have you ever wondered why people put up with abuse? Your partner is abusing you over and over again, but you're there, right? um People are invading your boundary over and over again, but you're still around these same people. They take advantage of you over and over again, but you're still there. Let me give us a picture of how this form of developmental trauma forms out. When you raise a child and then you let the child know that love and pain can coexist, right? You are teaching this child to be an adult that accept both idea of love and the reality of pain. So let me say, for example, if as your parents, right, if you do something, I will beat you very well today, and then tomorrow I will buy you juice. Unconscious, you learn that it's okay for me to be a source of pain and then a source of love. So as an adult, if you find someone who, right, take advantage of you, who physically and emotionally abuses you and then still loves you, you'll stay, because your system have embraced the reality that love and pain coexist. But the reality, love and pain doesn't have to coexist, right? You don't have to accept pain, you don't have to accept love, because of the figment of what we call love. As a matter of fact, what we call love might just be symptoms of attachment. You're looking for someone that will just fill that vacuum you didn't have when you were growing up. So let me break it down. If you were raised where you didn't have um, a true nurturing relationship with your father, now that's for a woman. If you were raised where your father was not emotionally available to tell you how much he loves you, how much he cares for you, how much he accepts you, unconsciously you'll be looking for someone that will be the person your father isn't, even if that person will be the source of pain to you, right? So you can, okay, in the street you hear words like, um, women fall in love with bad boys. No, it's not women fall in love with bad boys. Traumatized women fall in love with traumatized men. I don't know if you get the perspective now. So these are all imprints of trauma, right? If you put up with abuse, these are imprints of developmental trauma. If you put up with deprivation, these are all imprints of developmental trauma. If you are constantly running looking for people that will love you, people that will accept you, right, for who you are, these are all imprints of trauma. If you have to give up yourself, if you have to deprive yourself of authenticity and your boundary just because you want someone to accept you and then love you, these are all imprints of trauma that adults are struggling with. Now, this might not be your fault, but it will be your responsibility to deal with it so that your children don't have to, right, go through what you're struggling with. As a matter of fact, your children don't deserve to struggle with what is not their responsibility. So, except you deal with your developmental trauma, that circle will continue. If you're a people pleaser, your children will be people pleasers. If you're a savior, your children will, will be saviors. If you are deprived of love, and attention, you will deprive your children of love and attention. If you are not raised in an empathetic environment, you will not raise your children in an empathetic environment. If your parents, right, raised you with the cultural form of punitive discipline, right, you validate it and then tell the world that, yes, my parents beat me so much, but I turned out well. You now use that approach on your child, right? You use punitive form of discipline on your child, and then your child will now recycle that, that form of cultural forms of discipline over and over again. Listen, you didn't turn out well. You were traumatic. You can't turn out well and then you are quick tempered. You can't turn out well and then you don't have an idea of emotional regulation. You can't turn out well and then you have zero sense of empathy and patience for the developmental milestone of a child. You can't turn out well and then little thing triggers you, right? If you tell your child, please give me this thing, and then your child didn't do it immediately you're triggered and then you're hitting the child. No, it's not the child that is making you act that way. It's your trauma that is being triggered. All right. So look at how you discipline your children. Are you disciplined because you want to, make them know better? Or is it because they're triggering that part of you that is hungry for attention, that is hungry for respect, that is hungry to be seen? Is it that your partner is the problem, or is that your partner is triggering that part of you that wants to be heard, that wants to be loved, that wants to be given all the attention on earth? Now, these are all imprints of trauma. I can go on and on and on, right? Reeling out the struggles we go through in marriage, the struggles we go through in parenting that are tied to trauma. The good news is there is help, right? The good news is you can deal with it. Now, as I wrap up so that we have ample time to ask questions. Now, let me say this. I know that because of lack of awareness, we have demonized the term trauma. Now we now make it look like is a bad thing or is a big thing that's happened. No, trauma is normal, right? Like I said, trauma is normal. A child or a parent can be a source of trauma not intentionally, right? Because there are three frameworks that constitute trauma. Now let me say this quickly. Three framework. The first is event. What happened? Event, like what happened. The second is experience. How are you experiencing what happened? Human beings are meaning making machine. MMM. MMM. Meaning making machine. Human beings are meaning making machine. So There are times that um, unintentionally you might do things, and then that will constitute trauma for your child. Now, let me give a personal example. Like, while growing up, I resented my dad so much. I mean, I resented him. Listen, there are times I prayed for him to die. Now, let me tell you why. Um, my dad then used to be a pastor. And then as a pastor, like, he was very busy, planting churches, traveling, doing God's work, going for programs, and all that. He was zealous doing God's work. And then as a young child growing up, then for me, I felt he didn't love me. So he was not even there in my life. Right. And then it led to this so much resentment and anger towards him. Now, I want to explain the experience now. Um, is it really true that my father didn't love me? No, come on, of course. Years after, when I had a conversation with him, I told him, how much I hated him, how much he was not there in my life, he didn't care and all that. And then he told me that, listen, truly, he loved me, but he didn't know how to tell me he loved me because while he was growing up, he lost his father when he was 3. So he didn't know what it means to have a father-child relationship. So it's not that he didn't love me. He loved me, but he didn't know how to, express it. Now, this from his angle, but I got to know this angle years after. I mean, when I was already an adult. Now, the little me was getting angry with this man that this man didn't care. I was interpreting what he was doing to mean he didn't love me, he didn't care. But he was just being passionate about God's work. He was just doing his thing. Right? He didn't even know that I've interpreted the fact that he was not available in my life as something huge. Now, this experience, I am a meaning making machine. So sometimes um trauma happens unintentionally, right? I find I work with adults who till date they tell me that I feel something is wrong with me. Even as an adult, they tell me I still hear my mother telling me that you never amount to anything, right? I hear men telling me, I still hear the voice of my father telling me I'm an irresponsible man. Even as an adult having children, I still see mothers telling me that I still hear the voice of my mother telling me that I'm foolish, I'm careless, right? I'm not good enough. Now, these words can be said carelessly, but they can constitute trauma to the child. Why? Because the child, has little idea where the parent is coming from, right? And then the third E in trauma. Remember, I said what there are 3 frameworks that constitute trauma. I said experience, what happened to you, right? Were you deprived of love? Were you neglected? Were you, physically and emotionally abused, right? Were you sexually abused? Now, this is the first experience. Second, now I said, what are the meanings you're giving to, the event that has happened to you? The first is event, the second is experience. What are the meaning you are giving to the experience that happened to you? And then the third is the effect. Now, what are the effects of the event, right? And then we all know the visible impact to traumatic experiences is it affects relationship, it affects career, it affects the marital system, it affects parenting, it affects finances, right? As a matter of fact, it can even affect your physical health because if you don't take a step to deal with your developmental trauma, you can develop autoimmune diseases, high blood pressure. Listen, it affects your life. So what we need to understand here is trauma is not a bad word. We shouldn't demonize it. Listen, these are normal experiences. And then we say trauma are psychosocial defenses. Your body wants to defend you. Your nervous system wants to defend you. Your brain wants to defend you, right? So is this form of trying to defend that leads to what this impact in relationship, in marriage, and then in social circle and all those things. You find you find parents who, even though as adults, they are still struggling with their esteem, because of course while growing up, you didn't have the opportunity to hear your perspective. You were raised in a home where you were not allowed to express your authentic self. So even as an adult now, you're struggling. You don't know if your perspective will be embraced or you'll be shut down. So if you're shut down by your parents, you feel the society will keep on shutting you down. So we can go on and on and on. But I want to stop here, so that we could ask our questions, right? So that I could attend to our concerns. If you need clarity, if there's a part you did not understand or you did not agree, come on, it's very okay, right? This is a learning curve for us. And then, if like me, you've gone through, forms of trauma, and then you want to become a proactive parent to help your children, there is still help. I'll be here to offer my perspective and then my guidance on how we will bypass and then stop the transgenerational passing of developmental trauma, right, that we embrace to our children. So thank you so much for following. I'm so happy that we are having this conversation at a time like this.
Woo! This is bomb. My goodness. I'm so happy that we are having this conversation at a time like this. No better
Yeah,
time
we
than
need it at a
now.
time like this. Mm,
No better time. No better time.
no,
Because
no
when
better
we hear
time
these
than now.
things, I'm telling you, when we hear these things, like it's confusing, it's overwhelming, because many of us have actually attributed all of these experiences as what have reset. There's a way we say it in the Nigerian context,
Yeah,
that all of those
yeah,
punitive
brain resetting.
measures reset our brain. It's
Yeah,
what ignorance have done to us. And then the cycle is going on and on and on and on. You know,
yeah,
there are many struggles I also grew up to see that many of the things we actually term ancestral powers, ancestral evil, things we term like generational causes and all of many of
they are
them.
just
I
traumatic
sat down in
experiences.
a whole like years and years and years of researches and deep thoughts. I realized
Mm,
that I'm not saying they are not there, but 80-90% of the things we call generational causes are actually experiences that have been replicating itself.
yes,
These are
these are
all
all
the
traumatic
imprints
experiences.
of trauma that have been going on and
Yes,
on and on. Your grandfather
yeah.
raised your father like that. Your father, that for instance, you
Mm,
gave an example, he didn't know fatherly love. So for him, it was a
mm,
normal thing. What's the big deal? He is now raising a child who is looking at him with one eye, one corner of the eye, and saying, "What kind of a man is this?" But for him, it's normal.
mm.
If you didn't have access to knowledge, you would have repeated the same. And then your child is struggling
Yes,
in his marriage, in his finances, in relationship with people,
yes,
and then we attribute it that evil spirit is somewhere,
yeah.
holding us, tying us down. Generational causes are tying us down. Oh, this and this and this. It took me years to find out this truth. Like, there are
Mm,
things that we do not even know that we need. Is
true.
amazing. Coach Ade, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to
Wow,
say. People are raving you. Oh, just see.
wow.
I don't
Thank
know
you
what
so
to
much.
say again. Honestly.
Thank you
Honestly.
so
Oh
much.
my God. This is
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
This is awesome. People are just raving
Um,
you.
I can
This
say,
is
okay, Ugu. Okay, Ugu, thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words. I honor, men like you who are open to this kind of conversations. Now, let me say this. We are in a society that have normalized all form of irresponsibility, right? And then you hardly find men who are hungry to learn and then to become better, because the society have made
yeah.
it look like men are alpha and omega. So when I see men like okay who are open to this form of information, listen, this is huge. I honor you.
Wow.
We have to set the template for men to realize that we are all humans, we are fallible, and then we're given a skewed template. And except we learn and become better, we'll be recycling those templates, especially for the boys we are raising. Um,
Exactly.
a lot of us were raised has wounded boys and men. If we don't deal with
Hmm.
our wounds, right? If we're not vulnerable to say, listen, I was not raised well, I'm struggling, we'll recycle those templates, and then we're raising
Hmm.
boys that are troubled to their marriages, boys who are troubled, in their working places, and then boys who are
Hmm.
troubled to their children. So thank you so much for all the men who are creating time to be here, to learn, and then to be part of this conversation. Of course, to the wonderful women who are always right showing us the way that even as a family we can be hungry, right, to change the family. To all the women, I salute now. By the way, I need the women to know that, see my shirt, oh,
The women are
not
telling you
normal
not to
rapper.
go.
See, on this journey, we die here.
Are you seeing your screen? That's what they are saying. Are you seeing your screen? Can you see your screen?
Sorry.
Can you see
Okay,
the
someone
screen?
said, please, I continue.
Oh God, my goodness!
Well, when when
I
when
feel the same.
when it comes to conversation
But
like this, I can
but
continue from now till tomorrow. However, I need us to I need us to let's have a conversation, because listen,
yeah,
these
she
issues,
has a
all of us are
question.
affected. We are all in this together, right? These are real
Yeah,
concerns. So, if you have questions, listen, ask,
she
and
has a
then
question.
let's give it a blow. Let's make it practical. And then I can see a question here. She said, "How do people pleasers stop and be firm?" Listen, thank you so much for this question. And then let me start this way. Every form of developmental imprint and trauma will not stop overnight. You didn't
Mm,
develop this behavior overnight. You developed it as a coping mechanism. As a matter of fact,
mm,
the people pleasing is not the problem. The people pleasing is just a symptom to the problem. So we need to take a few steps backward and then evaluate, right? What am I using people pleasing to feel? People pleasing is like medication, right? Why am I addicted to people pleasing? So what is that emotional need I'm using people pleasing, right, to
yes.
medicate? So it could be that you want people to see you like you're a good person, right? Because maybe while growing up, you didn't feel good enough. Maybe while growing up, you are looking for people to like you, people to accept you, people to love you. Maybe because you didn't have parents that were emotionally available in your life to validate your path. So you are doing it as a form of acceptance, even though it's not helping you emotionally, physically, and then socially. You're doing it because you want to convert the attention and the applause, of the other people. So it's a gradual process you can take to assess what you are using the people pleasing for. The good news is, yes, you can stop. You can, it's normal to say no. It's normal to say, at this moment, I'm not available. It's normal to prioritize your emotional and mental health. It's normal to look inward and say, listen, I am valuable all by myself, right? I don't need the validation of other people to be authentic. You need to be authentic. There are people who need you to be authentic, right? You don't have to deprive yourself of your authenticity just because you want other people to accept you, right? So you can start. Like I said, will it be easy? No. Is it achievable? Yes. And then it's a gradual process, one step, at a time. And then, like we're doing in this conference, if you have really, really concerns, if you can afford guidance, please talk to Coach Vivian. She can guide you all along this path. But hey, we can do it, and it's achievable.
Wow, 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 wow. People are thanking you. People are raving you. People are just
Thank you
I'm
so much.
waiting.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I appreciate you for engaging.
I want to check down and see their questions. And this question is not complete, but I think maybe she will still complete it. When you have in-laws that are your mother-in-law and all the siblings are on your neck, and you keep trying to please them and it's not working, what do you do? Okay, it's not complete, but what do you do is where it stops. I don't know what he's
Okay.
trying to say, but you can go ahead and say
Now,
something about that.
okay. Now I get this question. Now the problem is, while this question is, um, it's not black and white, or it's not straight, right? I can see where the concern is coming from.
Hmm.
When you start having issues with your in-laws, right, there are two issues at play. Number one, your family does not have a clearly communicated value system, right? And then secondly, your family does not have boundary. And then if your family does not have boundary, it means as a person you don't have boundary. And then if you don't have boundary, people will bypass your boundary over and over again. So it's not them, it's you. You have to teach people how to treat you. You have to teach people how to relate with your family. You need to teach people, right, how to respect what you stand for. And then listen, it's not gonna be easy. You just have to stand on your feet. Even adults throw tantrum. If I tell you this thing is not accepted in this environment, you will not be happy, you will not clap for me. Shane, are your vex, not be my vex now, but I have to stand by what I believe. And when I do it over and over again, you will come to a point of respecting what I believe. Now, let me give an example. Let me give a personal example here. Um, a few years ago, right? Okay, now let me like this now. My own mom hardly comes to my house, right? I'll tell you why. When you come to my house, the first thing we'll do is we'll give all the rules. In a house, we don't yell, we don't shout, we don't do this or that. That will tell you, right? So the first time I told my mom, in this house, we don't yell, we don't do this in this house. After me is my wife, then the children. Like, listen, she was not happy. She and her vex. But over time, she come to terms with the fact that this is how these people do their thing. This is boundary. This is family value system. And then it cut across everything. If my parents, you see how I treat my family, you won't disrespect them. Oh. Sure, you know. If you see how I respect our children, you will not disrespect them. But the day I disrespect the children, you too, you feel it's normal to disrespect them. If I disrespect my wife, you feel it's normal to disrespect my wife, right? So, like I said, how to deal with in-laws, you need to have a clearly communicated family value system. So, as an individual and then as a family, you need to have boundaries. What do you stand by? When someone bypasses your boundary, it's not their fault. Look inwards, right? You taught them to disrespect your boundary. You taught them not to respect you. So you need to love yourself enough to come to that point where people around you know what you stand for, and then the values that, right, tell so much about your family system. So, like I said, there's no easy way to go about it now. If you want to deal with your family issues, we need to assess it, right, to know your struggles with people pleasing, and then how we can, have an interventive plan to deal with, that issues. Again, I will refer you to Coach Vivian. If you have an issue, right, she's a proactive parenting coach. Go and drag her leg. By the way, pay her and then drag her leg. If you not pay her, you don't have the right to drag her leg. Anyway, I hope I've responded to your question.
We are coming for you. We are coming for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so very
Yeah.
much for this powerful section. This is power packed. I usually say that Coach Ade brings down Rema from heaven, so that all the we turned out
Thank you
well.
so much.
We will begin to rethink again. You know, in this part of the world, we just live by the status quo. You know, we don't think outside the
I
box.
don't.
This is the way it's
Nah.
done. This is the way we were told. So everybody follows the way we were told. And then we grew with
No,
it,
we
and that's the standard, you know.
no, we can do
So
better. If you meet a madman on the
yes.
street and say, "Are you mad?" What would the madman tell you? You will say, "I'm not mad now." You want
Definitely.
someone that did not turn out well to say, coach, me, I did not turn out well. No, all of us they say we turn out well. More turn out well now. Mr. Go focus say I turn out well. I agree. My papa reset my brain, but I turn out well. Right? And then if you meet me on the street, I will show you how I turn out very well. We are very funny people. We'll get there.
I
It's
was in a
gradual.
place yesterday. I just remembered I remembered you when I got into a house yesterday, and the first thing I heard was a woman telling her maybe 3 or 4 year old, you know, a little baby girl like this, because she has a smaller baby, that a younger sister that she left upstairs and came down to meet the mom. And the mom said to her, "Why did you leave your baby sister? Go up. I told you, go up. Don't stay with me. Go and stay with your baby." And the girl was wanting to give the mom reason. The mother said, "I will flog you. I will flog you." And the girl said, "But mommy, I love my mommy." She said, "Yes, even if you love your mommy will still flog you. That's the way mommy will show you that she loves you." I was like,
Whoa, whoa,
God,
Kai,
what?
Kai, Kai. Whoa. So
And
love
that
comes
girl
with
is,
pain.
I said she has just one baby sister. The mother was just emphasizing, that's the way mommy will show you that she loves you. Mommy will flog you and you will learn your lesson not to leave your baby sister when mommy comes downstairs. Mommy will flog you and show you that she loves you. And I
Wow.
said, who did this to us? Who did this to
Mm,
us? And then if the 3 year
wow.
old picks it and grow with it, she too will come to, you know, replicate it, telling her own child that
Yeah.
that's the way
Yeah.
mommy shows. And then we call all of those things that we struggle in marriage, in relationship, especially in relationship. The way we relate with other humans is crazy, especially in this part of the world. And these are all the things we
Yeah.
pack up and call generational curses, you know, evil
Yeah.
powers, and all of that. These are just templates that have been that are reoccurring and reoccurring and reoccurring. Coach Ade, God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you. My heart is full.
Thank you
Thank you
so
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 much,
much.
sir, for being here. Thank you. We are coming for you.
Thank you
Just
so much.
put it down your
I appreciate
diary.
it, man.
Thank you so much. We are grateful.
Thank
When
you
we
so so
come,
much.
we'll give you other questions that may drop where you have gone. Thank you
No,
so
it's
much, sir.
okay.
We are
It's
grateful.
okay. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. So, people, this is the end of session one. Coach Ade have brought down the Rema again. The Rema have started, and then we are bringing in the second speaker in a moment to continue from where Coach Ade stopped. Man, if you're not in this session, please make sure you catch the replay today. And if you're in this session, make sure you announce it everywhere. Let everybody know this is awareness we are creating, so that we can recreate our future and recreate the future of our children. That's who God made us. He made us co-creators with him, so that we can create the future we want to see in our children. Make sure you share this link, you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure you let everyone in your circle come in this place. If you're not doing that, then you're wrong, because every one of us need this awareness, especially here in Africa, where we carry so much baggages of our childhood trauma and experiences, and we call them names that are pleasing, so that, you know, we can also cover that imprint of trauma. This is what trauma have done to us. So please share the link, share the message, share this YouTube channel, subscribe to it, so that you can constantly come here, watch this over and over again, and let others also have access to this link. God bless you for being here. And then if you're looking at our screen and saying, so Coach Ade, how are we going to do this? How can we come out of all of these things that you're sharing? Build Your Home Tribe is your plug number one. If people that are in the Build a Home Tribe already knows that Build a Home Tribe is explosive. We bring in coaches like Coach Ade to handhold us in many of the sessions and master classes that break these things down, and we're able to take practical steps. No one conference can give you everything you need. No one conference can teach you and handhold you. The conference is there to create an awareness, to tell you what is happening, and also let you know that you can do better. Now, in doing better, we have to get into the process of walking through a journey. That's what parenting is all about. Parenting is not about information here and there, like we're getting now. We're getting the information, we're getting the awareness. After that, what happens next? We have to walk through a journey, we have to walk through a process with our children, broken down in bits and pieces, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And that's the only way we can help our children. So if you're thinking, how do I get into the Build Your Home program? Please, the details on the screen is going to show you number that you can send a chat to get details about the Build Your Home program. And then if you're also in our groups, in our different social platform, you social media platform, I beg your pardon, you see us sharing details about the Build Your Home tribe. The Build Your Home tribe have 8 different packages and levels that we break down every year with our children. And these are not the things we can share here, but basically it starts from the value system, like Coach Ade just gave us an overview of why people encroach their boundaries and encroach your boundaries, because you don't have an outlined values that others come to know and respect. So we start from the values of your family to self-discovery and all other, modules that will open your eye to all of the things you need to be doing with your children daily. And these modules are broken down daily, weekly, monthly to help you guide your children properly. And in the Build Your Home, we have 6 levels before you're done with the Build Your Home program. It's annually, but you have to go through the phase 1, which is the first year. In 2023, the registration have already started. We have parents that are working with us in the Build Your Home already in 2022. So you may want to get into that program. You may need to just send a chat immediately as you're listening to me to get into that program. Coach Ade is one of our resource members and professionals that are hand-holding parents to know and start and begin this journey proactively. Do not wait until you get into struggles. If your baby is 0 age, this is the right time for you to join this program. 0 age. That's what proactive parenting is all about. You're walking ahead so that you can bridge in the gap of situations that will throw you off balance, get you overwhelmed, get you frustrated, and then help you to begin to build your life and build your children's life. You cannot help your children if you are struggling. That's the truth. Trauma will not allow you, work with your children well. That's the essence of, working ahead, so you can learn how to manage your own life, how to build your values, how to help your children not to get into the struggle that will trigger those trauma that will lead into yelling, shouting, hitting, all the punitive measures of discipline and corrections that we use. And then you can be able to help them, guide them through this, social cultures, traditional cultures, and all the cultural experiences that, fight us with all the knowledge you are getting in our time. And so, if you're listening to me, send a chat to the number to get details about the Build Your Home tribe. You're going to be blessed in the Build Your Home tribe. It's something that you can't even imagine, but we'll tell you all of the things that you're going to be getting in the Build Your Home tribe as you read our chats in the group and everywhere that we share details about the Build Your Home tribe. So get in here for the second session in a moment and let others also know that something is happening. God is blessing families through the Proactive Parents Conference that all of us are plugged in to listen and to get the awareness that we need to be able to work as wholesome parents that will raise wholesome children for the next generation. God bless you and see you in a moment. Thank you.